5 verses representing the 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, earth. 1. Even if you understand the essence of true thusness, you still have not escaped reincarnation. It is better to include cultivation of the great medicine, immediately transcend to non-leaking, and be a real human. The essence of true thusness is naturally being as is. There is no effort involved at all. It is not material, not void. It is what is called unconsciously following the laws of God. If you want to cultivate this essence, you must understand this essence. Once you have understood this essence, you must take this essence and refine it into something indestructible. Only thus can you attain salvation. If in spite of having understood it, you do not know how to cultivate and refine it, your life does not depend on yourself, and still depends on fate. When your time is up, you have no support, and cannot escape death and reincarnation. Not giving up the work of gradual cultivation after sudden enlightenment, using the yang fire and the yin convergence to cook and refine the great medicine, you dissolve aggregated conditioning, shed that which withers, and bring forth the real body. Then you can go into water without drowning, go into fire without getting burned. Tigers and rhinos cannot injure you, weapons cannot harm you. Then you are a non-leaking, real human. In ancient times, after the 6th patriarch of Chan Buddhism had gotten the transmission of the 5th patriarch, he hid among hunters, mingling with ordinary folk, integrating his illumination, thus perfecting true attainment. Zhu Hassian realized complete pervasion suddenly, but he knew in himself it wasn't the ultimate, and he needed the transmission of Xing Lin to attain the great achievement. People usually think it is just a matter of cultivating the great medicine, or that if one realizes true thusness, this itself is enlightenment. Then what did the 5th patriarch transmit to the 6th patriarch, since the latter had already realized there is originally not a single thing? And why did Zhu Hassian seek out Xing Lin after having suddenly realized complete pervasion? So we know that all at once understanding and gradual cultivation are both necessary. It may happen that one suddenly understands first and then gradually practices, or one may first gradually cultivate and then suddenly understand. Essence and life must both be cultivated. The work requires 2 stages. This verse speaks of reaching life by way of essence, practicing the gradual from the sudden. 2. Entering the womb, usurping the house, moving the abode, living in an old residence. These are called followers of the 4 fruits. If you know how to conquer the dragon and subdue the tiger, real gold will make a dwelling that will never decay. Entering the womb means first spotting a rich and noble family with a pregnant wife in her last month, so as to enter her womb. As for usurping the house, when a pregnant woman is near delivery, there will always be a yin soul waiting to enter an opening. To enter first, before the other does, is called usurping the house. Moving the abode means, when the body declines and fails, to pick a vigorous living body and surreptitiously move into it. Living in an old residence means, when a vigorous, healthy person dies by violence, to borrow the still warm corpse, enter an opening, and live in this old residence. Entering the womb and usurping the house are more or less the same. Moving the abode and living in an old residence are also more or less the same. All 4 refer to cultivating the yin spirit to be able to go in and out. Self-serving Buddhists are called followers of the 4 fruits. They are also called heretics. Derivatives of the teachings of the 2 lesser vehicles, they are not the supreme vehicle of Buddhism, which is realization of true thusness. They are only different from ordinary people in that transmigration is clear to them. As for the great path of the gold elixir, this involves conquering the dragon of true essence in the eastern house, and subduing the tiger of true sense in the western house. returning sense to essence, nurturing sense by essence, so that sense and essence harmonize, dragon and tiger meet, producing the spiritual body, like building a house of real gold, which lasts as long as heaven and earth, never to decay. Then there is no transmigration. 3. The methods of mirror gazing, imprisoning breath, and contemplating the spirit are hard for beginners, but later become easy. Even if one can suddenly roam myriad lands, nevertheless, when the house gets old, one changes the abode. Mirror gazing is done by hanging a mirror on the wall and keeping the spirit in it. After a long time at this, the yin spirit comes out. Imprisoning the breath starts by not letting out 1 breath, 2 breaths, then 10 breaths, 100 breaths, gradually reaching the point where one never lets out the breath energy, which then circulates internally by itself. Contemplating the spirit may be done by silently paying court to the supreme God, or climbing up into the clouds to discover the sages, or imagining the spirit emerging from the top of the head, or imagining the spirit going out from the hall of brightness, an inch behind the middle of the brows. There are very many such practices. For beginners they are hard, but later the going is easy. After many years they enable one to project the yin spirit, but it is only solitary yin. When the physical constitution deteriorates, it leaves this body and enters another. What benefit is this for essence and life? 4. Buddhists teach people to cultivate ultimate bliss. Just focusing on ultimate bliss is the direction of metal. Of all matter and form, only this is real, and other is unreal and vain to essay. Ultimate bliss is the Pure Land in the West. The West is the direction of metal, which in people is the firm sense of real knowledge. This sense is stable, uncompromising, perfectly pure, and cannot be moved by anything. It is like the hardest of metal, which never breaks down. Cultivating ultimate bliss is cultivating this true metal of real knowledge. When the true metal is forged to perfection, it has both firmness and flexibility. Freed from all pollutants, it shines brightly and becomes a supreme treasure. In ancient times, Dipankara cultivated this and made a clear jewel tower. Shakyamuni cultivated this and made a 16-foot-tall gold body. Of all matter and form, the only thing that is real is cultivating this firm, strong sense of real knowledge. Anything else is unreal, not worth considering. 5. Ordinary expressions and common sayings accord with the path of sages. You should turn to them for careful research. If you use everyday activities to search and reverse, everything in the world turns to jewels. The Tao is not far from people. What people consider the Tao is far from people. The Tao of essence and life is the eternal Tao. The eternal Tao is the Tao of daily life. It's just that while people use it daily, they do not know it. If you want to cultivate essence and life, you should thoroughly investigate the principles of the eternal Tao. If you can carefully investigate the principles, you do not need to read 1,000 classics and 10,000 texts. There are great revelations of the celestial mechanism right in ordinary expressions and common sayings. For example, good people are called really genuine, truthful, conscientious, reasonable, respectable, aware of proper proportion, aware of when to go forward and when to withdraw, circumspect, perceptive, having their feet on the ground. Bad people are said to be inhuman, lacking conscience, and unreasonable. They hurt others to benefit themselves, are self-deceived, violate nature and reason, take suffering for pleasure, take the false for the real, pick up one thing and forget another, without knowing death and life, without knowing good and bad, only knowing one and not two, only aware of the existence of themselves and not that of others. Expressions like these are meaningless when said, but flavorful when reflected on. Why not pick out one or two of these common sayings and bore into them in your ordinary activities, seeking against the tide? Everything in the world is a jewel. Everywhere is the Tao. Everything is useful in this. Ordinary scholars say the Tao cannot be spoken, so they will not make real efforts to examine the principles of essence and life. Also, they cannot humble themselves to ask help from teachers and friends, or if they do ask for help, they still do not truly recognize reality and speak of searching for the treasure from nothing at all. Those who act like this will never accomplish anything, even if they leave home and spend their lives traveling all over the world.